Orthis 9 had always been dismissed. At the outer edge of mapped space, circling a dim orange dwarf star, the planet seemed insignificant. Dust storms swept across rust-colored deserts, jagged mountains jutted into pale skies, and shallow rivers snaked their way across arid plains. For centuries, scouts, explorers, and survey vessels from dozens of galactic powers passed over it with barely a second glance. Every sensor scan recorded only modest energy signatures, sparse settlements, and scattered mining operations. The universe called it a backwater. Humans themselves called it home. The first impression any observer had was deceptively simple. The planet appeared almost fragile, a quiet place where life clung stubbornly to existence. Cities were small, built of weathered stone and metal alloys that gleamed in the weak sunlight. Children ran along dusty streets, laughing in voices too small and too innocent for the sensors to register any threat. Markets buzzed with everyday trade, grain, tools, simple electronics, clothing spun from local fibers. To alien eyes, it looked like survival in its most mundane form, not the crucible that would forge one of the deadliest arsenals the galaxy had ever known. The Thrin Dominion was the first to notice Orthis 9 in any detail. Their scout fleet sleek, obsidian-coated vessels capable of traversing light-years with near-instant subspace jumps passed over the planet in routine mapping operations. They saw little more than settlements, small energy grids, and a few mining installations. In their arrogance, the Thrin concluded that the humans posed no strategic value. A minor species, they reported. Insignificant technological output. Planetary defenses, minimal, no threat detected. But humans have always thrived in contradictions. Their cities appeared fragile, but every building, every structure, was reinforced with secret alloys and kinetic absorption fields invisible to foreign sensors. Their settlements seemed small, yet every habitation served multiple purposes: civilian life, military readiness, and emergency mobilization. And beneath the surface, far beyond the reach of any casual scan, lay the heart of the human secret, a network of bunkers, tunnels, and silos designed to host weaponry that could annihilate fleets, neutralize orbital stations, and incapacitate entire planetary systems. For decades, human engineers and strategists had worked quietly, refining, testing, and hiding. Orbital defense satellites hovered in geostationary orbit, appearing as nothing more than communications relays or weather monitors. Drone factories, camouflaged beneath the mountains and hidden valleys, produced swarms capable of overwhelming much larger fleets with ease. Kinetic launch systems waited in hardened silos, programmed to target any intruder with surgical precision. Energy weapons, the likes of which the galaxy had only theorized, hummed quietly in dormant chambers, ready to activate the moment humanity deemed necessary. It was a system built, not for conquest, not for aggression, but for survival, deterrence, and inevitability. The humans understood a fundamental truth that other species seemed incapable of grasping: patience is power. They could wait decades for an incursion, centuries for a threat, because they understood that the galaxy always moves in predictable patterns. Civilizations rise, fleets expand, empires overreach. And when that moment of overreach came, humans would strike not recklessly, not violently, but with the precision of inevitability. The second wave of observers, this time from the Orathic Syndicate, were equally dismissive. Their fleets, bristling with weapons designed for planetary domination, scanned the surface in elaborate patterns. They recorded settlements, infrastructure, and population densities. Their reports echoed those of the Thrin Dominion, no threat detected. Planetary defenses, minimal. Proceed with resource acquisition as planned. Yet the humans waited. On the surface, life appeared ordinary. Children kicked crude spheres across cracked streets. Farmers tended to arid crops. Miners dug deep into red soil for water and ore. Markets buzzed with trade in a rhythm as old as civilization itself. The galaxy saw only these superficial details, assuming that this ordinary existence reflected ordinary capability. Below the surface, the hidden networks thrummed with activity. Sensor arrays monitored every potential entry point from orbit. Automated command centers analyzed every possible fleet movement, every conceivable weapon system, every strategic maneuver that an outsider might attempt. Drones were tested in virtual simulations that ran faster than the speed of thought. Kinetic projectiles were calibrated to the millimeter. Defensive shields were tuned to intercept enemy fire without collapsing under attack. Every contingency had been anticipated. Every variable accounted for. Even the settlers themselves participated in the deception, their ordinary routines masking the extraordinary preparations beneath them. Children carried messages in the guise of errands. Traders moved supplies that doubled as components for defense systems, and miners maintained access tunnels that connected surface operations to hidden bunkers. Every civilian action reinforced the illusion of ordinariness while strengthening the hidden network of defense. The humans had learned from history. The galaxy underestimates patience at its own peril. Every empire that rushed to judgment, every fleet that assumed quick superiority, every species that mistook silence for submission had failed when confronted with humans who understood inevitability. Strength was not always measured in fleets or firepower. Sometimes, strength was measured in preparation, calculation, and restraint. The Thrin Dominion and Orathic Syndicate fleets could have fired indiscriminately, bombarded the surface, destroyed settlements, and claimed a hollow victory. But the humans had anticipated this. Automated defense systems and pre-positioned units could neutralize such an assault with minimal casualties and maximal disruption of the enemy fleet. Even in the hypothetical scenario of a planetary bombardment, the humans would survive, and the invaders would learn the cost of underestimation. Orithis 9, quiet and unassuming, was a masterclass in hidden power. The galaxy saw a planet and a people that seemed insignificant. They assumed weakness. But in this perceived fragility lay the deadliest lesson any species could learn. Patience is a weapon. Invisibility is a shield, and when humanity acts, it does so with inevitability. In the dusty streets, children played. In the mountains, unseen bunkers thrummed with dormant power. Orbital satellites traced invisible paths through space. Drones waited in shadowed factories. Energy arrays hummed quietly. Humans, silent and ordinary, prepared for a universe that had already misjudged them. And the universe, confident in its assumptions, moved ever closer to the day when it would discover just how wrong it had been. The galaxy believed Orithis 9 was empty. Humans knew it was anything but. The first explorers arrived, not with hostility, but with curiosity, which was often the prelude to arrogance. The Orathic Syndicate survey fleet emerged from subspace, their sleek, obsidian-hulled vessels glinting faintly in the dim light of Orithis 9's star. Sensors swept the planet from orbit, scanning for mineral resources, energy signatures, and defensive capabilities. At first glance, the humans seemed inconsequential, scattered settlements, rudimentary trade hubs, and mining operations too small to register as a threat to any interstellar empire. Admiral Callis, commanding the lead Arathic vessel, watched the holographic displays with confidence. "Nothing here warrants attention," she declared to her officers. "A minor species. No technology beyond what we already know. No weaponry capable of meaningful defense. Orathis 9 is, in every measure, insignificant." Her confidence was shared across the fleet. Reports from reconnaissance drones echoed the same assessments. Planetary defenses minimal. Fleet capability negligible. Likelihood of resistance extremely low. The Syndicate's intelligence officers smiled at the ease with which they expected to dominate this distant, quiet world. What they did not see, and could not see, was the web of human preparation beneath the surface. While the Arathic fleets hovered above, humans monitored their every movement with an almost unnatural awareness. Sensor arrays hidden deep within mountain ranges and desert caverns tracked every orbital vector, every frequency, emission, and every subspace ping. Communications that appeared dormant were alive, recording data and running simulations of the fleet's probable maneuvers. Humans calculated, and calculation was an art they had mastered over centuries. Even the settlers themselves were part of the hidden system. Children running errands delivered encrypted messages, miners moving or reinforced access tunnels leading to bunkers, and traders carried supplies that doubled as components for defense and intelligence. Every ordinary action on the surface served a purpose. To an outsider, Orathis 9 appeared calm and vulnerable. In truth, it was a fortress, silent and patient, its walls invisible to the galaxy's eyes. The Thrin Dominion arrived shortly after, sending a squadron of scout ships and probe drones. Their sensors were among the most sophisticated in known space, designed to penetrate planetary crusts, detect energy signatures, and analyze even the most subtle indicators of weapon systems. Yet even their advanced technology failed to reveal humanity's secrets. Shielded bunkers, geologically camouflaged silos, and AI-controlled drone factories remained undetectable. The humans had designed Orathis 9 to be invisible, not through stealth alone, but through deliberate misdirection, leveraging the galaxy's assumptions against itself. While the Syndicate and Dominion fleets scanned the planet, human engineers in subterranean command centers observed. They ran simulations of every potential response from the fleets above: orbital bombardments, ground invasions, electronic warfare attempts. Each scenario was accounted for, every contingency tested, and every countermeasure placed with meticulous precision. The humans waited, confident in their preparation, their patience as much a shield as the bunkers and satellites hidden from view. For weeks, the fleets continued their surveys, oblivious to the web of preparation they floated above. The humans' patience was tested not by their own restraint, but by the audacity of the galaxy's assumptions. Every ship, every scan, every movement of the alien fleets became data to be analyzed, predicted, and neutralized if necessary. And in that patience lay a quiet terror, for humans did not need to act immediately. They knew the universe underestimated them, and underestimation was the most powerful weapon of all. From the surface, life appeared ordinary. Farmers tilled the dry soil. Children ran through streets and alleys. Merchants exchanged wares in the market squares. The galaxy's observers saw only ordinary civilization, not the intricate latticework of defense and intelligence lying just beneath. Every street, every building, every mountain bore a hidden function, part of a network designed to respond to threats before they could reach critical mass. Meanwhile, Humans communicated in ways that the alien fleets could not detect. Subspace channels, cloaked and encrypted, carried messages between orbital satellites and subterranean command centers. Drone networks hummed quietly, remaining dormant but ready for instantaneous deployment. Weapons systems calibrated silently, powered by backup generators hidden beneath civilian infrastructure. It was a precision machine, invisible in plain sight, designed not to provoke but to protect and to teach a lesson that would be unforgettable. The galaxy's arrogance became more evident as fleets assumed superiority. "They are insignificant," an erratic officer remarked as he monitored surface scans. "If they resist, it will be nothing more than a nuisance. Deploy survey teams and begin resource mapping. Any opposition can be neutralized with minimal effort." His words echoed through the fleet, a chorus of hubris that would soon be shattered. Human patience was a different kind of weapon. It was not flashy or aggressive. It did not rely on numbers, brute force, or immediate retaliation. It relied on observation, calculation, and timing. The humans knew the galaxy would act hastily, that arrogance would guide every decision. They knew that fleets confident in their technological superiority would assume weakness, underestimate resilience, and rush into exposure. And they waited. Days turned into weeks. The alien fleets conducted low-risk maneuvers, sending probes and landing parties. The humans observed every move, tracking energy consumption, shield modulation, and response protocols. Each scenario was tested in real time, using live data from the fleets themselves. The humans did not panic. They did not act prematurely. Their patience was deliberate, their silence strategic. And as the fleets continued to survey, unaware of the danger lurking beneath their feet, the first phase of the humans' plan began to take shape. It would not be a chaotic battle. It would not be indiscriminate destruction. It would be surgical, inevitable, and terrifying in its precision. The galaxy assumed they were surveying an empty, defenseless planet. The humans knew the truth. Orithis 9 was a fortress, a bastion of inevitability, and a silent warning that the universe had never truly understood what humans were capable of when pushed to prepare, to defend, and to endure. The first move would not come from the humans, not yet. But every calculation, every preparation, every system hidden in plain sight had been set into motion. They were ready. They had always been ready. And the galaxy, still blinded by arrogance and assumption, had no idea the storm it would awaken. The lesson was simple, though it would take the universe time to comprehend. Underestimate humans at your peril. Their patience was not weakness. Their silence was not submission. And what lay beneath their seemingly ordinary planet was a force unlike any the galaxy had seen, precise, deadly, and entirely inevitable. Orithis 9 appeared empty. It was not. And the galaxy would learn the hard way that humans, patient and deliberate, were far more dangerous than anyone had ever imagined. The galaxy never understood humans until the moment they awakened. The Orathic Syndicate's fleets, confident in their assumptions, patrolled above Orithis 9 with arrogance as their shield. They did not see the quiet hum of power beneath the surface, the silent calibration of orbital defenses, or the dormant swarms of drones poised in hidden factories. They saw only what they expected, a backwater world, inconsequential and unarmed. The first sign of error came subtly, almost imperceptibly. A Thrin frigate, probing the outer atmosphere, detected an anomaly in its orbital readings. Instruments faltered. Propulsion systems blinked offline. Comms systems experienced inexplicable interference. Officers aboard laughed nervously, attributing the anomaly to sensor glitches. Then, a small, seemingly harmless drone appeared, invisible to standard visual and infrared scans, clamping onto the ship's hull. Within seconds, the frigate was immobilized. Power fluctuations cascaded through the systems, and every attempt to reactivate engines failed. Panic spread across the bridge. Orders shouted into the void went unanswered. The crew's panic became palpable, a mixture of disbelief and terror. They had assumed vulnerability. Now they faced precision. Far beneath the planet's surface, human engineers monitored every system. They did not act rashly or with brute force. The response was calculated, deliberate. Automated drones disabled weapon systems without causing hull breaches. Kinetic projectiles neutralized targeting arrays. Energy pulses disrupted sensors, leaving life support systems intact. Every action was surgical, every strike considered. The humans were not only prepared, they were inevitable. As news of the first immobilized vessel spread across the Syndicate fleet, chaos rippled. Commanders attempted to organize countermeasures, but the humans had already anticipated their every tactic. Orbital defense satellites, previously passive and invisible, aligned with military precision. Drone swarms deployed, encircling ships and disabling engines with pre-programmed algorithms. Every movement the aliens attempted was countered before it could even begin. On the surface, life continued seemingly undisturbed. Miners dug through red stone, children ran errands and played games, and merchants exchanged goods in dusty marketplaces. To an observer scanning only superficially, nothing had changed. Yet beneath the surface, Orathis 9 had become a fortress of inevitability. Every building, every street, every mountain concealed machinery and systems that could dismantle fleets, immobilize weapons, and neutralize advanced alien technology without a single civilian casualty. The humans' patience became a weapon far more terrifying than any projectile. The galaxy had always rushed, always assumed, always acted with overconfidence. Humans waited. They calculated. They observed. And when the time came, they struck not with chaos, but with precision, demonstrating the full magnitude of preparation, ingenuity, and control. Admiral Callus of the Arathic Syndicate realized, too late, that assumptions had blinded her. How can a species so small, so seemingly ordinary, wield such control? She whispered to herself as her fleets floundered. The orbital drones, energy interceptors, and precision strikes continued their work, neutralizing vessels, disabling communication arrays, and rendering offensive weaponry useless without harming personnel. Every maneuver she ordered had been anticipated. Every reaction countered. The humans acted like chess masters, playing an entire galaxy's worth of pieces simultaneously. From the mountains, subterranean bunkers, and orbital command centers, humans monitored the chaos with calm efficiency. Engineers adjusted drone patterns, recalibrated energy defenses, and tracked fleet movements in real time. Every simulation, every calculation, every probability had been tested decades earlier. There were no mistakes, no surprises. The universe had assumed that immediacy equaled power, but humans had proven that inevitability was far stronger. Even the colonists participated unknowingly. Children delivered messages disguised as errands. Traders moved components disguised as ordinary goods, and miners maintained access tunnels connecting civilian areas to command bunkers. Every ordinary action reinforced the hidden network that had just dismantled fleets from orbit. The galaxy's most advanced warships, with their shields, weapons, and fleets, were now helpless, rendered irrelevant by careful planning and precise execution. The first strikes were merciful in appearance. The humans could have obliterated the alien fleets entirely, reducing every vessel to drifting wreckage across space. They did not. They neutralized, incapacitated, and immobilized. Civilian personnel remained unharmed. Commanders were captured, not executed. Every measure was designed to assert dominance, demonstrate power, and convey a message without unnecessary bloodshed. Across subspace, human command centers broadcast a calm, direct message to the fleets above. You assumed this planet was empty. You assumed we were defenseless. You assumed patience is weakness. We were prepared. You are not. The message spread quickly, first through comm channels, then as whispers among officers, fleet captains, and planetary governors. The galaxy felt a terror, unlike any other, not born of rage, but born of inevitability. Humans did not strike in anger. They struck with certainty. They did not destroy recklessly. They destroyed only what was necessary to demonstrate their preparedness. The result was clear. Entire fleets immobilized, orbital stations neutralized, command nodes captured, all without unnecessary harm to civilians. Every species observing the event could see the lesson: do not underestimate humanity. Their patience was not weakness. Their silence was not submission. Their preparation was precise, and their execution was inevitable. Humanity had revealed a simple truth. When underestimated, humans become an unstoppable force, not because of raw power, but because of their ability to anticipate, plan, and strike with perfect timing. The Erathic fleet attempted retreat. Drones intercepted, engines were disabled, and subspace communications were jammed or redirected. The humans had anticipated this move. Every strategy the aliens conceived had already been accounted for, countered, and neutralized. The fleet's escape turned into a slow, calculated surrender, as humans demonstrated, with chilling calm, that no action they attempted would succeed against a species that mastered inevitability. On the surface, the children laughed, merchants traded, miners continued their work. To any casual observer, Orithis 9 remained ordinary, peaceful, and unremarkable. But the galaxy now knew differently. The humans had awakened. They had demonstrated not violence, but inevitability. Not anger, but precision. Not recklessness, but patience as the deadliest weapon of all. The first wave of alien arrogance had collapsed. The galaxy would never again mistake quiet observation for submission, patience for weakness, or humanity for irrelevance. And as humans monitored the immobilized fleets from hidden command centers, they understood one universal truth: the lesson had only begun. Oris 9 was no longer a backwater. It was a warning, and the galaxy would pay attention from that day forward, or suffer the consequences of assuming they had time to do otherwise. The alien commanders scrambled. Across the Syndicate and Thrin fleets, panic spread like wildfire. Vessels drifted helpless in orbit, engines offline, weapons systems rendered inert, communication nodes jammed or redirected by human networks. The galaxy's most advanced fleets had assumed superiority: technological, tactical, numerical. But they were helpless against humans, who had mastered patience, anticipation, and precision. Admiral Callus Bridge erupted in chaos. Officers shouted orders to engage, to fire, to warp out, but every attempt failed. Every maneuver had already been anticipated. Every vector, every angle, every countermeasure was accounted for before it could be executed. The humans had not merely prepared, they had preempted. Their arsenal was not a reactive force. It was inevitability manifested. Orbital satellites, once appearing inert, realigned with flawless precision, targeting critical systems on the invaders' ships. Drone swarms emerged from hidden factories, invisible until they were already encircling hostile vessels. Each drone moved like a predatory organism, coordinated with AI algorithms that predicted enemy reactions before they occurred. Kinetic projectiles launched from subterranean silos struck enemy ships with millimeter accuracy, disabling weapons arrays, navigation systems, and propulsion without compromising structural integrity. Humans had transformed the battlefield into a demonstration of inevitability, precision, and control. Even reinforcements sent by the Arathic Syndicate were intercepted. Human engineers in deep bunkers monitored every subspace channel, every fleet movement, every trajectory. They adjusted drone paths in real time, recalibrated energy defenses, and activated contingency measures for every conceivable attack pattern. The invading fleets could neither advance nor retreat without encountering calculated countermeasures. Every strategic choice became irrelevant in the face of human preparation. On the surface, life continued as if nothing had changed. Miners moved through hidden tunnels, connecting settlements to fortified bunkers. Children ran errands carrying encrypted messages disguised as mundane chores. Market traders transported supplies that doubled as defense components. Every ordinary action on the planet's surface reinforced the hidden systems above and below. Civilians were unaware of the full extent of the battle, yet their daily routines were integral to the humans' unstoppable network of preparation and defense. High-ranking alien officers could not comprehend the scale of what they faced. "How is this possible?" an Arathic warlord hissed, staring at a holographic map showing immobilized fleets. "How can a species so small and seemingly insignificant control the battlefield with such precision?" The answer, of course, was patience. Calculation, observation. The humans had designed Arathis 9 to be underestimated, its apparent ordinariness a mask for the deadliest arsenal the galaxy had ever encountered. The humans demonstrated restraint at every turn. They did not obliterate ships unnecessarily. They did not exterminate crews. Civilians remained untouched. Humans struck only to neutralize, disable, and assert control. The galaxy had assumed that conflict required chaos, that dominance required destruction. The humans had proven the opposite. Precision, patience, and inevitability were far deadlier than any display of brute force. Communication channels, hijacked by human systems, broadcast a clear and unwavering message. "You assumed we were defenseless. You assumed our patience was weakness. You assumed silence meant submission. We were prepared. You are not." The fleet officers stared at the message in stunned silence. Entire squadrons were immobilized, orbital stations were neutralized, and command nodes had been compromised, all without catastrophic loss of life. The humans had achieved what no other species in the galaxy had. They had demonstrated absolute strategic superiority while exercising moral control over the battlefield. Even the most aggressive alien forces recognized the limits of their options. Attempting to flee only brought further interception. Attempting to fight back was futile. Attempting to negotiate from a position of strength was impossible because humans had already dismantled the illusion of superiority. The invaders were trapped, not by brute force, but by the inevitability of human foresight. From the hidden bunkers beneath the mountains, engineers adjusted drones to intercept reinforcements arriving from neighboring systems. Orbital satellites targeted supply lines, crippling logistics before they could reach the front lines. Autonomous energy systems created defensive grids in real time, intercepting enemy energy weapons with surgical precision. Humans were not merely reacting, they were anticipating, neutralizing, and reshaping the battlefield entirely according to their own design. This was not a chaotic conflict. This was a symphony of inevitability. Every alien maneuver was anticipated and countered before it could even begin. Every fleet, every squadron, every command officer was now a participant in a system they could neither understand nor control. The galaxy's assumption that humans were small, disorganized, and primitive had collapsed spectacularly. In the midst of this, a human commander observed the immobilized fleets through a secure orbital terminal. Calm, precise, and almost indifferent, she issued the next set of instructions: drones to monitor movement, silos to maintain readiness, energy arrays to remain on standby. She did not gloat. She did not celebrate. Humans did not need to. Their victory was already evident. The galaxy had already learned its lesson. Even the aliens who survived the initial engagements realized that their arrogance had been fatal. Entire fleets were rendered ineffective. Their ships could neither advance nor retreat. Their communications were controlled. Their strategies had been predicted and neutralized. And all the while, Orithis 9 remained outwardly ordinary dusty streets, laughing children, bustling markets, and miners at work. To any superficial observer, nothing had changed. To the galaxy, everything had changed. Humanity had not struck recklessly, had not sought revenge, had not caused mass destruction. Instead, they had demonstrated inevitability, precision, and patience, the three weapons that the galaxy feared most because they were invisible until the moment of execution. The alien commanders, faced with their immobilized fleets, realized too late the cost of underestimation. They had assumed a quiet, unremarkable species. They had encountered inevitability incarnate. Orithis 9 had awakened. The galaxy would never again mistake patience for weakness, silence for submission, or humanity for ordinary. Humans had proven that what appeared small and insignificant could be the most dangerous force in the universe because they waited, calculated, and acted only when their action was inevitable and unavoidable. And above all, the lesson echoed clearly across the immobilized fleets and captured command nodes. Underestimate humanity, and you pay the price of your own arrogance. The galaxy had miscalculated. The humans had not. Orithis 9 had transformed from a backwater planet into a fortress of inevitability, and the universe was only beginning to comprehend what it truly meant to face a species that combined patience, preparation, and precision in ways no other civilization could match. The silence of humans had become the loudest alarm the galaxy had ever heard. Chaos of the initial encounters faded into a calm so profound that it was almost disorienting. Alien fleets, once bristling with arrogance and firepower, now drifted helpless in orbit around Orithis 9. Engines were disabled, weapons neutralized, command structures compromised. The galaxy had expected humans to react with panic or aggression. Instead, the planet's inhabitants exhibited a quiet, deliberate control that resonated far deeper than any weapon. From subterranean command bunkers, human engineers monitored every vessel, every satellite, every drone. Their screens showed the immobilized fleets with precision and clarity. Yet despite the immense tactical advantage, there was no celebration, no gloating. Humans had always known that true power does not rely on brute force alone. It relies on preparation, patience, and control. The galaxy had assumed chaos would accompany power. Humans demonstrated that restraint could be far more terrifying. Admiral Callus, now seated on the deck of her own crippled flagship, stared at the communication feed broadcast across the fleets. A calm human voice filled the channel, neither threatening nor condescending. You assumed we were defenseless. You assumed patience was weakness. You assumed silence meant submission. We do not seek unnecessary conflict. We act only with precision, inevitability, and purpose. Your assumptions cost you your freedom of action. The words hung heavy in subspace, and for the first time, alien commanders truly grasped the consequences of their arrogance. Entire fleets had been neutralized without loss of life. Orbital stations remained intact. Civilian populations were unharmed. The humans had demonstrated power not through devastation, but through calculated inevitability, a lesson far more difficult to recover from. Across Arathis 9, life continued in ordinary fashion. Miners emerged from tunnels to continue work. Children played among the markets. Traders moved goods through streets teeming with the hum of daily life. To any casual observer, the planet remained quiet and unremarkable. To the galaxy, it had become a living testament to the power of human patience, ingenuity, and restraint. Every ordinary action above ground reinforced the systems below and above, a duality that symbolized both the cunning and the moral precision of humanity. In the orbital command centers, humans began consolidating control over the captured fleets. Rather than inflict punishment, they carefully assessed each vessel, each crew. Commands were methodically restored where appropriate. Systems were repaired under human supervision, and alien personnel were given choices: retreat under conditions set by humans, surrender resources without coercion, or remain immobilized until their home authorities negotiated in good faith. Humanity had demonstrated something the galaxy rarely witnessed: absolute dominance exercised with wisdom, not reckless vengeance. It was during these moments that the first true understanding of human strategy crystallized across the galaxy. The aliens had assumed that war was measured in firepower and fleet size, that power was expressed through aggression, and that control required destruction. Humans had shown that control could be achieved through preparation, that strength could be expressed through restraint, and that dominance could be asserted without cruelty. Inevitability, patience, and precise execution were the weapons that outmatched raw strength, technology, and hubris. Back on the surface, children carried messages, merchants transported materials, and miners ensured that the hidden infrastructure remained flawless. Each action, no matter how mundane, served a purpose. Even the humans who remained above ground continued daily life, their presence a perfect camouflage for the dormant, unstoppable power beneath them. It was a testament to a civilization that understood both morality and survival, a civilization whose genius lay as much in culture as in technology. Through the captured fleets, word of the human victory spread across neighboring systems. Messages traveled faster than light through subspace channels, encrypted and secure, yet impossible to suppress. Galactic powers that had once dismissed humanity as weak, backward, or insignificant now reevaluated everything they had ever assumed. The lesson was stark: underestimate humans at your peril. Their patience was not weakness. Their silence was not submission. Their strategy was inevitability incarnate. The captured admirals and officers faced the full weight of this revelation. Some attempted defiance, but every move was anticipated. Every resistance met with calculated precision. None were destroyed, yet all felt the full moral and strategic superiority of humans. The demonstration had been complete. Strength without recklessness, power without chaos, inevitability without bloodshed. Humanity had emerged not as conquerors, not as oppressors, but as a species that the galaxy could not ignore. They had revealed the ultimate truth of survival in a hostile universe. Planning, patience, and ethical precision were more formidable than any fleet, weapon, or fleet of drones, and they had done so while maintaining life, culture, and moral integrity, a combination so alien to other civilizations that it would redefine strategy, diplomacy, and warfare across countless star systems. Even as alien fleets retreated, under human terms, a ripple of fear, respect, and awe spread throughout the galaxy. Scholars, tacticians, and political leaders began to study the humans not just for their weapons, but for the philosophy underlying them: restraint, observation, patience, and precision. Humans had taught a lesson no fleet, no weapon, and no empire could ignore. The quiet, patient, calculated force is often the deadliest of all. In the markets of Orithus 9, children laughed, unaware of the cosmic upheaval that had unfolded above their heads. Miners spoke of the day's work. Traders haggled over prices, and life continued with the rhythm of normalcy. On the surface, nothing had changed. Beneath it, everything had. The humans had unleashed their arsenal not through fear, but through inevitability, not through slaughter, but through restraint, not through chaos, but through the patient certainty that comes from being prepared for every eventuality. The galaxy would remember Orithus 9 forever, not for the planet itself, not for its landscapes or cities, but for the humans who had turned patience into a weapon, silence into a shield, and restraint into dominance. The lesson would echo across star systems, whispered in council chambers, inscribed in strategy manuals, and studied by civilizations for centuries. Humanity is not defined by immediate action, but by the inevitability of its preparedness. And the universe, once arrogant and dismissive, learned a terrifying truth: when humans choose to act, it is neither impulsive nor reckless. It is inevitable. Orithus 9 appeared calm. The galaxy trembled in realization. Humanity had spoken through patience, and the message was unmissable. Underestimate them at your own peril. The lesson was clear, timeless, and universal. Patience is power. Preparation is dominance, and inevitability is the deadliest weapon of all.